This is a Choppin' It Up show brought to you by the Marching Podcast. And now here is your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Yeah. All right, you can unmute the microphone. Let me get the camera here. All right, welcome to the Chopping It Up show. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Happy to be of service for you today. Today is January 17th, 2021. We got the new year going on, 2021. What is this? 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live, whether through iTunes, YouTube, our blog, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, or wherever you are on the interwebs. This podcast is brought to you by Block Band Music and Publishing, blockusup.com, SAY Marketing and Promotions, Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots, Math-Sci Tutoring and Educational Services, Sofia's Barbecue and Fish, Lamik's Video, and Bull City Music School. Let's give a round of applause to our wonderful sponsors. All right, so let's get right into it. Today we are chopping it up with one of my CBs, as we call it, and we'll get into all of that. But the one and only Kevin Lewis, how are you doing in this podcast, sir?
Good evening. Good evening. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man. I've always known that you would do really good things. Just a little teaser. I know that back in the day, I remember when we were in school, not only did you have good grades, but you was taking a lot of hours. So I was like, man, if it's anybody that's going to graduate from college, it's going to be this dude. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I've always been proud of you, man. I always knew you doing great things. And you have. So we will get into that shortly here on the interview. So as usual on a Chopping It Up show, we'll talk about and find out where Kevin's from, where he went to school, where he marched in college, if I hadn't already given that away. and then what he did there in school, and then what he's done afterwards. And shout out to, let me give a round of applause to all the people listening and watching. Shout out to the chat room, the wonderful Terrell Key. He already up in there. So shout out to him. And shout out to our wonderful alumni association. Again, I'll get into that later. But yeah, really proud to be part of that and represent part of that, and Kevin is as well, and doing good things
Absolutely.
for our community. All right. So we'll take our first commercial break from our beloved sponsors, our first half of the sponsors commercials, and then we'll get right into it with the interview. Again, spread the word, share, do all the stuff necessary. The podcast and the audio version will be uploaded on the website later and on iTunes and all that stuff. But you hear live now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, and Twitch as well. All right. Shout out to Lamik's. What's up, Lamik? How you doing, man? One of our beloved sponsors with the dope commercial. I always love to play your commercial, man. So we'll get right into it. We'll play our first commercial break, and then we'll come right back and chop it up with Kevin Lewis. We'll mute our microphones, and we'll be right back.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951-858-5942. That's 951-858-5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
Hey, this is Kitty, and you're listening to the Marching Podcast. Hi, this is Yoko. You need to do what you like.
Hello, this is Keenan Bush, entrepreneur, coach, and trainer, currently the founder of Keen Vision, Design, and Branding. And you are listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
Hello, this is Smokee Baptiste, personal trainer and CEO of Chessboard Enterprise. I'm also a graduate of Rutgers University, and I now live in California, where I teach young people how to play chess and start up business enterprises. And you're listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
All right. Thanks very much for our beloved sponsors. You can go ahead and unmute your microphones. We're back here on the show, chopping it up with Kevin Lewis. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Kevin, where you from, man?
Yo, I hail from Atlanta, Georgia, Decatur to be exact, from the east side. I grew up in Atlanta, been there my whole life. I'm a Falcons fan, I'm a Hawks fan, I'm a Braves fan. It's a tough road, but I'm holding on strong. But yeah, I'm from the east side of Atlanta.
Okay, that's what's up. And now are your folks and all of your family are all y'all from Atlanta?
Not at all. So I was the first person in my family to be born in the States.
Wow.
My mother's from Jamaica and my father's from Trinidad. They both came over here post high school, and my mother came over her junior year of high school. My dad came over right after he finished high school, and they both met in college. And funny story, immigrants, they find their way to places, and Ellis Island back in the day was the place to go for immigrants. So they all went to Brooklyn, and after a couple years of going through college, they both graduated from college, and they got married. They decided, hey, to hell with this snow, man. We're Caribbean people. We can't deal with this snow anymore.
Right.
So they decided to move south right after my mother had me. And so, yeah, they've been in the South for, I don't know how many years now, 40-some years. But yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I grew up in St. Louis, and then my dad's from Jackson, and then like when we were in school, I just got used to it. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this cold, no more. And then I bought down and went to graduate school in like the Pittsburgh area. But still, man, I hated it, man. Like waking up and then having to go down and warm your car up and scrape all the snow off your car. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I couldn't do that no more. So I'm glad I'm in California, man, because I can't deal with that cold.
Yeah, we're in Louisville, Kentucky now. We'll talk about how we got here. But we're in Louisville, Kentucky now, and it's snowing outside.
Wow.
So it's a couple more years, and we're moving back south.
Okay. Yeah, man, because you've been around. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like you said, we'll get into it. But you've been more than just in Kentucky. Just a little teaser for later on in the interview for all the folks watching. Okay. So, and again, I remember I told you on the phone, man, I always learn something new, no matter who it was. So I didn't know that about you. I just assumed you was from Atlanta. And y'all were deep. And I guess that's true. I guess that's true with all ATL folks at all HBCUs, especially marching in the band. But y'all was deep in our band. You know what I'm saying? And deep in our school.
Band culture in Atlanta lent itself well to sending the tentacles out to many a college band. The culture at the time was that high school bands, we weren't on par with college bands, but we were trying to keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
So the competition amongst high school bands made us all better. That prepared us as we spread out and went to a bunch of college bands. And we'll get to this point later on, but I got to credit Ronnie Yancey. Ronnie was a huge influence in me getting to Jackson State. And so, yeah, we were deep, but we had others pulling us along to help us get there.
Yeah, shout out. I just gave a round of applause. Shout out to Ronnie. Ronnie was an upperclassman, for us. But he stayed literally next door to me in Dixon. Oh my God. And that sucked because people would come over to his room, and then sometimes, like, even if I went out to the bathroom, like, I would, well, you know how it was when you was a freshman. You know what
Absolutely,
I'm
man.
saying?
That's a rough time, man.
Yeah,
Just
man.
know, I went to high school with Ronnie. He was the same way in high school. it was it was fun times, man. It was a good experience. Ronnie's a good dude. I love him to death to this day.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, shout out to Ryan. And I think he's out here now. I think he lives out here somewhere
nah,
now.
he's back.
Oh, you
He's
back?
back in Atlanta.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's back in Atlanta. He's doing well right now. I talked to him 2 weeks ago, right after the New Year. So he's
Okay.
doing well.
Good, good, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Okay. So we got a little taste of your background. Now, growing up, like you said, I mean, HBCU culture is deep there in Atlanta. When would you say that you had like your first HBCU like marching band experience?
Shoot, it would have to be like 92 or 93.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe before that, maybe like 91. And it was either Tennessee State in fam or it was Southern in fam, but it was a big game. And I convinced my parents along with my best friend Carl. We convinced our parents to let us go downtown to the Georgia Dome at the time. And we were in awe, and that sold me. That was it was a good experience. It was good seeing those guys. No, I take it back. It was South Carolina State against fam. That's who it was.
Okay.
Um, and it was amazing, man. Just seeing those guys and what they could do with their instruments. I was hooked. I became what you call a bandhead at that time.
Right. Right. So is that the Atlanta Classic? I guess.
I don't know if it was called the Atlanta Classic at the time. Honestly, I don't remember. Um, I just know that that was the place to be at the time. And we had, of course, we had VHS tapes, and Ronnie was a tape master. Right.
Yeah.
Ronnie was a tape master. And so leading up to that, a bunch of us from the high school, so this had to be 91. A bunch of us went to the game together, and I was in the 8th grade. So this was an eye-opening experience for me. So we went down, and I was in awe. Like I just couldn't stop looking at, from the drum majors to the drummers to just the regular bandsmen. I was like, I got to do that one day.
Right. Yeah, my dad was he marched at Jackson State's band, so and in St. Louis, like, it wasn't that HBCU culture. I don't think it's like that still. So we just 3-4 hours from Memphis, so he made sure we were in Memphis every year to see the Tennessee State game, and if we were in, if the boom came to Chicago or Indianapolis, anywhere close like that, we would see it. But yeah, just like you, man, I knew I had to be a part of that, and I started playing the trumpet not only to be like him, but also to like solidify that I was gonna be marching somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So just like you,
Hey, here's
man.
something else you probably didn't know about me. I started out on the trumpet. I
Oh,
was
word.
I was absolutely terrible. When I say terrible, I mean terrible. And I played trumpet for 5 years, for 4 years. I played trumpet
Wow,
for 4 years.
really? Oh, okay.
6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Okay, so that actually
I couldn't play above a C on the staff.
nice. So that actually rolls into my next question. I was going to ask you, when did you start playing an instrument? So was trumpet your first instrument?
Trumpet was my first instrument. So my father played steel pan. It's a West Indian instrument, but it's big in the carnival.
Okay.
And he also DJ'd. And my mother, like, whenever we're at home and we're just chilling, music is on. So music has been around me and in my environment my whole life. And so in the 6th grade is when we could start in Atlanta with an instrument. 5th or 6th grade, I can't remember.
Right.
But 6th grade is when I picked up the trumpet. And it was kind of chosen for me. because that's what was available when we went to rent the instrument.
Right.
So I played the trumpet, and I loved it. I did. I didn't necessarily love the trumpet. I loved music, and I loved being around the band culture and being able to make sounds out of this horn. It was good. So sixth grade is when I was the first time when I picked up an instrument, and I didn't know I was bad until I got to the eighth grade when I got to Towers High School, and they told me pretty plainly that I was terrible. Like I said, back then the culture in high school, it was almost like college, down to being a crab. Like my eighth grade year, so it was a different time back then. Back then, in many high schools, eighth grade was in high school. So at Towers High School, eighth grade was in the high school. And if if your school didn't have eighth grade, you could march in your high school marching band starting in the eighth grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my eighth grade year, I was a subby, another word for a crab, but I was a subby. And I thought they treated me bad because I was a subby, and finally they were like, "Nah, man, you're just terrible." The trumpet section, they were ruthless, man. Like they would take my mouthpiece. It was bad. Fun times though. It built character.
Right. Exactly. And that's what it does. You know what I'm saying? It builds character. Wow, so I didn't know that. So you played trumpet then. Did you okay, so let me go back. So your trumpet was your first instrument, and then you say you played that for a while. Where did you go to 4 years? Where did you go to high school?
Towers High School in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Titans, Towers Titans.
Okay.
In the heart of Decatur. I don't know if you know anything about Atlanta, but Decatur is I'll say it's not a nice area, or it wasn't back then. It's a little downtrodden, to put it lightly. So Towers was a beacon of hope in that rough neighborhood. And so Towers High School, I loved it.
That's interesting because around that time, Outkast was big. Outkast was pretty much like close to like one of my favorite groups. So anything I knew about Atlanta was through Outkast, and I think Big Boy said he was from Decatur. I think Big Boy said that. So
he said something about Decatur, but nah, he's from the West. He's actually from Savannah.
But, that's right.
Yeah, they claim the West Side, though. They're from the West Side. They rode on the West Side.
Okay.
But that was the first time I heard music referencing things that I knew about.
Right.
When they talk about JJ's Rib Shack, I gotta know what that is. Like, they talk about Varsity or Beautiful, like I know where those places are. Cascade Road, like all those places. It was good to hear about things that I'd experienced and that I was going through. That's what kind of brought me to Outkast and Goody Mob. I remember seeing Outkast at I think they did a concert or something at one of the early Freakniks, and another good time. But I guess a story for a different day.
Hey, boy, I'm about to say you brought it back because I feel like we are at like a really good age as far as our experiences, and especially experiences in the 90s. Because Freaknik, man, like that was so many people talked about it, and even in St. Louis. So that's why I knew how powerful it was. Cause St. Louis, it's actually the city is majority black. A lot of people don't know that St. Louis City is mostly black. But there's not the same like Morehouse and Spelman. It's not like that there. But I knew it was something special because black folks was talking about Freaknik, and my parents went to black colleges. My mom went to Spelman. So they knew about that stuff. Yeah, they knew about that stuff, and that's how I knew I was pretty much going to a black college, because they didn't want to send me nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about Freaknik and all that other stuff, that really opened my eyes. And then you remember the Cosby Show was like burning hot when we were growing up. So all of that, and different world. I was just about to say different world. So all of that, I knew I was going somewhere like that. but I knew I wasn't probably gonna go somewhere in Atlanta because I was so much band heavy. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, it's
yeah, man.
the AUC kind of ran like you had Morehouse, you had Clark Atlanta, you had all that stuff right in that small area. So it was just a great mix of everything right downtown Atlanta. Getting to live that and experience it was amazing.
I bet, especially at that time, and that's why I'm wearing my Morehouse shirt. My cousin Chris Hartsfield, shout out to him. I interviewed him some years back. Um, he went to Morehouse in '94, and he graduated in '98. So, and then that's where I got this shirt from in '98. But I
Oh,
remember the first time he came home, fall of '94, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. He was like, man, girls be like, I met this girl from here, and all she wears DKNY. And he said, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, what's that? Like, it was stuff he was saying, I didn't even know what he was talking about, but he was just trying to describe to me how the AUC was, and I was like blown away. I was like, well, I know I'm going to a black college now, but Atlanta was like the mecca at that time, and I'm sure it still is. But in the '90s, like when you was in high school, we was in high school. I mean, I'm sure it was like off the hook. You know what I'm saying?
oh, it was amazing. It was a great time to be, and it was a different time. Like I tell my sons now, my sons are almost 13, and my oldest son is 15. So man, I was 15. I was running the streets of Atlanta, man. Like I knew how to ride the bus or the MARTA everywhere in Atlanta. And my mother and father, like because they were from the islands, and then their experience in New York was go out and experience it. Like ride the train wherever you want to go.
Right.
My sons, they're a little bit sheltered now. We live a different. It's a different time. But man, at 15, I was a freaknik at 15. Like it was a great time to be alive.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then, like you said, with Outkast, I didn't really know what that was like until like Nelly came out, and we was already in school like when Nelly came out.
Right.
But the fact somebody was famous and on the radio and saying like spots that, like you said, you knew about, like that was
Yeah.
mind blowing to me. So you experienced that in high school, you know what I'm saying, in the
Yeah.
'90s. So yeah, man, like you said, that was a good time, man. Real good time. We coming along. So, you in high school now, doing your thing at Freaknik, and doing your thing. Um, did you know that you wanted to go to college, and then with that answer, what was your college decision process like? Like, how did you have a list, or what all did you go through as far as deciding on where you wanted to go to school?
So, funny story. I and I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my horn, so I'm gonna try to be a little bit humble. But when
Okay.
I switched over from trumpet to tuba, I played tuba for 1 year. The next year, I made all state. So it
Nice.
was a natural fit for me to switch like that. And I picked it up my 11th grade year, and I was going. But let me back it up. So in high school, I also I graduated with a 3.8. Um, and so both my parents went to college and were college educated. It was never a debate in my house growing up whether you were going to go to college or not. It was what college are you going to, not are you going to college.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a deeper discussion about raising our kids and setting expectations because the expectations were absolutely set for both me and my siblings. Um, but my decision making process um, was heavily influenced by my parents and their experiences. Uh, so I was very very close to going to Georgia Tech. Um,
Wow.
After the Atlanta Olympics, Atlanta had or Georgia had started the Hope Scholarship, um, uh, and you can go to school for free in Georgia. Georgia Tech also gave me a scholarship, so it was looking good. But that band culture was just kind of tugging on me. And then because both my parents were immigrants and they had traveled a lot, they wanted me to get out of Atlanta and go experience something different.
Okay.
So I was on my way to Tennessee State. I had got scholarships to South Carolina State, Tennessee State. FAM gave me a partial scholarship and an academic scholarship. At Jackson State, I applied to Jackson State because of Ronnie Yancey. Well, for some reason, my senior year,
Oh man, we look like we lost Kevin live on the air. We lost Kevin. Hold on, let's see if we can get him back. Chopping it up here with Kevin Lewis on the Marching Podcast. I don't know what happened. Hold on, let me go to my other camera here. But I was just getting into his story, man. Hold on, let me see if we can get him back.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure one of my sons on their video games is using up all the bandwidth. I apologize.
That's all good. That's all good. We got the dope technology here. So yeah, I'm just adjusting your cameras back. Yeah, it looks okay. All right. Yeah. It looks like we good. I had just started showing the timeline. Not timeline. Your slideshow of the pictures.
Okay.
So your beautiful family. I know we'll get into that too. But man, I'm still just right quick, man. Man, people used to tell me, like, they would see me growing up and they knew my parents and they would be like, man, I knew you were before you were born. And I used to, oh my God, I used to hate hearing that. And seeing your kids, man, I'm like, oh my God, like, I know where you came from. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
All right, man. So we back here chopping up with Kevin Lewis. Okay, all right. And where you left off was, you talked about the Hope Scholarship. You think about Georgia Tech, but you might have been going to Tennessee State. That's where you left off.
Yeah, so I was headed to Tennessee State. They gave me a scholarship offer senior year of the fall, so I was headed there. And Ronnie was politicking hard because he had just finished crabbing, fall '96. He came back to our spring concert, and somehow Ronnie convinced Doc Liddell, Mr. Adams, and Pop to come to Towers High School. I don't even remember why they came, but they came and they did a clinic for us during symphonic season, and they got all the seniors together. And I told him because he asked me where we were going and and we just had a conversation. And it was me, Moray, Geronda was there.
Wow.
It was me, Moray, Geronda, and like 5 or 6 other people who ended up not coming with us. But Doc went around the room and just asked us our GPAs. And when I said 3.8, he kind of almost fell off his chair.
Right.
Then he asked me my SAT score. And I had scored the highest SAT in my high school. And then he asked my band director something. He asked my band director, could I play? And my band director was like, yeah, he made All-State. And so Doc was like, all right, we give him a full scholarship.
Right,
and I was like, whoa.
Right.
I was like, well, I'm headed to Tennessee State. And so I did not expect that. And so that kind of changed the course of my life. Like that was a life-changing moment to be offered a scholarship just based off my academic pursuits. And I didn't play a note. I didn't play a single note for Doc Liddell, and he gave me a full scholarship to Jackson State. It's funny, Moray played a B flat. And based off his, because Moray made All-State as well, and based off of his performance academically, and our band director's word, our band director also was a graduate of Jackson State.
Okay.
And so, kind of. So we got a new band director my senior year. The band director I really had for my first 4 years. He actually went to Berkeley, so he was not
okay.
he was not an HBCU graduate. However, he was a student of the culture.
Right.
And so we were absolutely patterned after a mix of HBCUs. Our rival high school at the time was Southwest DeKalb High School. That's how I met Jermaine. And they were patterned directly after FAMU,
Right.
where their band director went. They were a mini FAMU. Well, over at Towers, we took some stuff from Southern. We were a little bit of Jackson State, a little bit of Tennessee State, a little bit of SFAM, and we did our own thing. But it was a good mix. But he left my senior year to explore other pursuits, and we got Lawrence Jennings. He's a WT, like 83 or something like that. I don't know. But he really introduced the Jackson State culture to us. And then Ronnie Goin, and Chris Mathis. I don't know if you remember Chris.
Yeah, I do.
Chris from '95 went, and so we had a couple people before our year go to Jackson State, but they came back and they pushed hard, not just for us at Towers, but for Dr. Recruit heavily from Atlanta, and he did. There was a bunch of us in '97 and even more in '98 and '99.
Yeah.
So it was good. But my senior year, getting back to the story, it's I was close to heading to Tennessee State, and Doc came off the top rope at the last minute, man. Like this was at the end of the semester too. Like that's like I had to apply for housing, all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a miracle that they were able to pull it off, but we got there.
Yeah, man, that's a good story, and it really kind of paints the picture about how deep y'all were. Like, I mean, that was like half the band, and you brought back some names. What's funny is when I first started thinking about doing a podcast about bands, Murray was one of the first people I talked to because he was on Facebook. I don't see him on Facebook that much now, but
Nah.
He was doing something where he was in a music studio or something back then. And I remember talking to him like on the IM through Facebook because I hadn't talked to him and seen him in so long. And I was like, "You think I should do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, you should go ahead and do it." And I said, "Well, I think I want to do interviews too. So you think I can interview you?" He's like, "Yeah, man, we'll get together and do it." And then like things started rolling along, and I have not seen Murray or just his on Facebook. I hadn't seen him in like a long time.
Hey man, he's still alive. It's been about a year since I've seen him because of course the pandemic. But Christmas 2019, Christmas, New Year's time, we got together when I was home. He's doing well. He's a professional gamer right now, man. He's doing well.
Wow. Okay.
He's doing
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying. I got to reach out to him, but I remember he played trombone. I mean, I just man, you said Geronda, like man, you took it back, man. You brought back a lot of names that was just in the band, and I remember not really knowing how deep y'all were. And then someone will say, "Oh, he from Atlanta." I was like, "He from Atlanta too?" You know what I'm saying? I was just like, "Wow, I didn't know that." So, that's really cool that happened. And then you again speaking of your grades, I remember Sugar Bear. Shout out to Sugar Bear. I hope he
My
get a
crab
chance.
brother.
Yeah, I hope he get a chance to watch. I remember we were out somewhere, and he said, "Yeah, my crab brother." He's like, "Kevin, man, he got good grades, and he taking like 27 or 21 hours." You know what I'm saying? He was saying something like that. So I was like, I was like, damn, Kevin smart like that. Like, and that was the thing that tripped me out about black schools was going to one seeing all of us looking alike or all of us are the same culture whatever, but then hearing that so and so really smart, like that took me to another world, because Avery was my roommate after our first year, and he had good grades, and I was just like, damn, like, because I wasn't really into that good grades thing just yet. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it took me a little while, and then after a while, and that's one thing I tell people about black schools, man. It was like it was cool to have like a 3.4, 3.5, because you saw everyone else like you who was doing it, not necessarily in rap or like they could play
Yeah.
basketball, like you know what I'm saying, like how the whole like stereotype goes. Um, but
Absolutely.
but I
Hey, I
remember
got a funny
hearing
story
that.
about Avery if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
My best friend growing up, and
Get
we'll
the
talk
wrong
about
note.
this a little later, I think. But my best friend growing up was a dude named Carl Edwards. He played trumpet, and he went to FAM. And I've spent a lot of time with Carl and his family. Spent a lot of time with me. Me and Moray, I told you we got our scholarship late to Jackson State. So when we applied to get housing together, because we knew we were going to be roommates, they didn't put us in the same room. So when we got to Jackson State, we figured we just gonna get to the room first, and then we gonna whoever shows up, we just gonna put them in the room where Ray was gonna be in. We were gonna just, we were both gonna stay in my room, and then the other person was gonna go to Moray's room. We show up, and sitting in the room already is Avery McFadden.
Wow.
Now, the reason I told you about my best friend growing up is because Avery McFadden and Carl Edwards are first cousins. And when I tell you they look exactly alike, they look
Wow.
exactly alike.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, dude, you done made it full circle. I remember Avery said he had a cousin.
Yeah,
Oh wow, so that was your best friend.
that's my best friend. And
Wow.
Jermaine's best friend, growing up through high school was a dude named Jamar Plummer. Another funny story. Jermaine and Carl sat next to each other at Allstate, and I sat behind Jamar at Allstate.
Wow.
Um, so it's a small world. But when we showed up and and I saw Avery in the room, I almost fainted. I thought it was Carl. And so my mom walked in the room. We bringing our stuff up from the elevator, and she walked in. She was like, "Oh my God, you look just like Carl Edwards." And Avery was like, "Oh, that's my cousin." And we were
Wow.
like, "Wow." So we convinced Avery to switch rooms with with Moray. So he went up. Um, yeah, but it was a good time, man. The world. It's a small world, man. It's a small world.
Yeah, it is. And so your best friend Carl, so he went to FAM, right?
Yeah, so did Jamar. Jamar went to FAM.
Okay.
So they became very close. So we're all still close now.
Okay. Man, I forgot all about Avery's cousin from Atlanta. I forgot all about that. And then I remember him telling me about his cousin at FAM. And then you remember we played FAM in '98.
Yes, we
And
did.
then a lot of us went to their hotel and we
We
would kick it
did.
with them cuz not only Avery's cousin was there, but I think he had like some people from his high school that was there. Played one guy played tuba, so we got to see him. But man, you keep bringing it back for me on this discussion, man. I forgot all about Carl, man.
Yeah.
That's a trip. And so then that's funny because you were up in the high rises. You was like on the seventh floor of
We were on the
Dixon,
sixth floor.
sixth
Sixth
floor.
floor.
Right, I remember. And
Yeah.
then Avery then moved down to the first floor.
Yep.
With this guy Devin. He wasn't in the band, but I remember we were always in his room. So if somebody roommate wasn't in the band, you kind of got to know him because you were always in the room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Small world, man.
Yeah, man, that is okay. So we let the cat out of the bag. Then you then ended up going to Jackson State,
The Jackson State University,
the
home of Sonic
Jackson
Boom of the
State,
South.
and that was the fall of '97.
Fall '97.
I finished in '96, but I went to Johnson C. Smith because I was not going to march at Jackson State. Like my dad had beat Jackson State. It was so I had so much Jackson State growing up. I was like, I want to have my own experience. You know what I'm saying? And I was all into the. And you remember during that time, it was the East Coast West Coast battle
Yeah.
beef. And so I swore I claimed like, I was like East Coast. So, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to go somewhere on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up at Smith. I was at Hampton, but I got kicked out of Hampton during the summer college. And and then I was at Smith. And then we got crunk on all the time, man. Like, I was like, I can't do this. After growing up and seeing Memphis and like all those major games. So then that's what made me go to Jackson State in '97. But I'm glad that because we had a really great class and a really good band in
Man,
'97. You know,
97 was a good year, man.
oh man,
97 was a great year.
it really was. Okay, so you there in
Well, I got to
'97?
tell you a quick story first.
Okay, okay.
All right, so freshman year, uh, one, I was stupid. Um, I got a band scholarship, and then they gave me an academic scholarship, and I was ticked off because you have to take honors classes if you get an academic scholarship. Well, you don't get any extra credit hours for honors classes, and I
Wow.
didn't know about that until I got there. Um, so, and then I took calculus in high school. But when I got to Jack State, the whole black college thing, oh, no, you got to take it again. We're going to get this money out you.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so, the beginning of band camp, uh, I'm pissed off because I got to take calculus, and the calculus book was $100. It might not be a lot of money today, but that was a hell of a lot of money for me back
Man,
then, and I was
back in
pissed
school,
off.
yes it is.
And it was big. And so I'm like, man, I already took this. And so we were doing something at band camp, and it was just a freshman. And I'm sitting down looking through my calculus book, and I'm pissed off. I'm trying to look through the calculus book, trying to see if there's maybe something I don't know that they got in this book as a reason why I got to take it again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this other freshman at the time named Kendra Hardy, she saw me sitting down with a calculus book looking like I'm studying, and all the other boys were running around, playing around, trying to talk to all the girls. And she was like, I want to go talk to him. So she came and sat down and talked to me, and we've been together ever since.
Wow, so she actually came over and started talking to you first?
Yeah, because she
Wow.
thought I was studying too. She thought I was being studious. And there I am, pissed off. But yeah, no,
Wow.
it was good. It
That's a
was good,
trip.
man.
And shout out to the great Kendra Lewis now.
Kendra
Uh
Lewis, Kendra Lewis.
She went to she's from Jackson. She's from Jackson,
She's from
right?
Jackson. Yeah,
And
she
she
went
went
to
to
Callaway.
Callaway. I was just about to say she went to Callaway cuz my dad being from Jackson, a lot of my family went to Callaway, man. I think one of my cousins went to Provine, but most of them went to Callaway. The Charger Funk, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Charger Funk.
And so yeah, I knew Kendra just because she was from Callaway. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, like I said, knowing your kids before they were born, man, y'all were like you said, y'all were together, and man, that was the band season, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
y'all had been together
We
ever since then, right?
Yeah, freshman year, crab year.
Wow, man, that's a trip. And y'all married and everything. So yeah, and we'll get into the ventures that you have guys gotten, but man, it's a trip to see you guys from band camp, you know what I'm saying? And seeing y'all got kids and your family and everything, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man,
Um,
it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
yeah, it is. It is. Cause I'm on round number 2, with my relationships. Who knows? And
Be
we,
like that sometimes.
right. We praying for that one. So, yeah. So, all right. So, there in '97. Then, what would you say was your most memorable experience marching there at Jackson State?
Um, I don't remember what the first game was. I have no idea what our first game or our first performance was.
It was
Um,
Alabama State, and we drove to Birmingham for that game. Like it wasn't on Alabama State's campus. It was
uh,
some classic there in Birmingham, and then
man, I'm glad you remember. 'Cause
yeah,
I don't remember. I just remember I was tired as hell. Like being a crab was hard. Like
right.
I just remember that. But marching into Tennessee State, that our freshman year, and seeing the amount of people who were there, and we played Get Ready, and to see all the pom poms like filling the stadium, I was like, man, this is legit. Like this, I can do this. Like
Right.
I can, like, sometimes you have a little bit of the imposter syndrome where you're like, man, am I really supposed to be here? Am I good enough? Everybody out here is amazing on their horn. Am I, all those things run through your mind. But once we started playing, once roll off hit, I was like, man, I'm here. Like this is legit. So marching in Tennessee State game, I knew I was like, I belong here. This is for me.
Yeah, man. I remember Tennessee State too, and because we went to Memphis every year, I remember how excited I used to be waiting for the band to come out, or driving to the stadium, and then the band would come, and then they have the police escorts.
Yeah,
So
man.
then people would be doing the pom poms out the cars. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I knew. I was like, man, I'm probably. And then eventually I was like, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna go to Jackson State because I hadn't had it. I hadn't had that experience nowhere else. You know. So I remember that. But you bring up Tennessee State. I remember that we were really really good, but we didn't have a lot of songs at the Tennessee. That was the third game, and we hadn't built
Yeah,
the book yet that year. And I just remember Tennessee State, man, just waylaying, man. They had songs they had like 400 songs, man. I remember.
man. The song I remember most Tennessee State playing, and it kind of made me question my decision, because a couple of dudes from my high school went to Tennessee State, so that's kind of what made me lean towards them. But they played Takata and Fugue, and I was like, whew. And the tubas came in. I was like, they sound really good.
Yeah,
They sounded really good. And so, but we crunk up on them. We did our thing. We did
right,
our thing. We handled it.
right. Man, Tennessee State. I mean, that was a crazy game. And then I remember that made the directors like we started hammering the book like after that weekend.
Yeah,
We
we were
really
ready for Southern.
right. Right, like it wasn't no question about that, like what we had to work on because we knew we were good, so we probably had a little bit of the big head,
Yeah,
But as far as the length of the book, we hadn't built that yet. So that's what I remember about Tennessee State in '97 is just after the game, man, they had so many songs, and then they were playing the show and then that little part, that little part, I remember they played that, and then we started playing it after that.
yeah,
Um, so yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
remember about Tennessee State. Mine, and I tell everybody's about this, but ours was or mine was when we marched into the stadium and Southern played on us. Like they got there early and they played. They tried to disrupt us. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Joe, listen, I'm not the loudest tuba player ever. I'm not, but I can handle myself on the horn.
right.
When they started playing, I couldn't hear my bell is right next to my ear. I couldn't hear anything. Joe, like, I don't know what song they were playing. I just know it was loud as hell. Like, I was like, this is like we was playing Get Ready. I'm like, I know Get Ready.
Right.
I can't tell if I'm playing the right notes or not.
Right. It was a hay in the middle of the barn. That's what song it was. And they waited to the piccolo solo, which is the softest
Yeah.
part. I mean, I remember that like it was last week, and I have no idea why. But I remember they played that. And then for us, I remember it was loud, but I remember a lot more of their sound was going over our heads because we were right under them from like how the stadium, how we were marching in. But their bells
Yeah.
were still going across the other side of the stadium. So when you see the video, it's like they like blew us away. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
man.
saying? But we were able to still like keep track of it, and then of course WT Crunk Up
Yeah.
series, and I just talked to Louis Lindsay. It was I guess December, in the last interview, and then he reminded me because I had forgot that all the upperclassmen staying left, 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 so
Listen,
we can
if
get
they
back
would
on
have done
track.
that, I didn't know what to do.
Right,
I was like, this is terrible.
right.
I cannot hear anything. I couldn't hear. But I was like, yo, this is bad.
I know. It was intense. It was definitely like we were like under fire, like in the war or
Yeah.
something. But then I remember that we got mad, and then it actually made the game better.
Yeah,
because it was once we got in the stands, we were like, oh my god, it is on now. You know
it's
what I'm
on.
saying? But and I ain't gonna lie, man. I wish they hadn't have left. Cause if you remember, they didn't play anything for the fourth quarter or the fifth quarter.
Fifth quarter, yeah, they rolled out.
They rolled out, and so I was just like, man, what would they do that and then roll out for? You know what I'm saying? Uh, but yeah, that's probably my most memorable experience. I mean, I got a couple, but yeah, I always share that to the people I was marching with to just to get what their 2 cents was when that happened. Um,
Yeah, it was interesting. Interesting.
yeah, it was okay. So then let me ask you then, was there any other experience that you remember? Um, and behind that, this is something again I didn't know. But Zachary Neely, I talked to him. Shout out to him. He's a Red Dog,
Yeah.
and I remember the shirts. But man, you gotta tell me, man, how did that all start getting rolling along?
All right, so I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but give you the details that matter. So at
Okay.
FAMU, back in the day, there was this organization called the Atlanta Jazz. And at FAMU, just like in every HBCU, every organization has to carve their own niche, and you have sub organizations, and it's all about finding your home and finding your place, and finding interests that match what you do. Well, when you go away to college, it's good to have an organization to be able to join that's going to look out for you. During that time, the Atlanta Jazz kind of got known for hazing, so they were disbanded. So in fall '94, a group of kids from Atlanta decided, hey, we're going to start another organization. We're going to be just as tenacious as the Atlanta Jazz, but we're going to focus on brother and sisterhood, and we're going to focus on musicianship, and most of all, we're going to focus on being family. Um, and so they took care of each other, they watched each other, and they represented their homes as though they never left. Um, and so fast forward from fall '94 to fall '97 at FAMU, my best friend Carl Edwards is he's a crab, and he becomes a red dog. And Jermaine, his best friend Jamar, is also at FAMU, and he becomes a red dog with Carl. And there's some other people, and growing up in Atlanta, everybody that goes to all the colleges. So I know a bunch of the folks that were down
Right,
there.
right.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but in Dixon, I think we had a code where we could call long distance for free. So we were using that code, and me and Jermaine, we became best friends pretty quickly. We knew each other in high school. We weren't close,
Right.
but we became best friends pretty quickly. Um, and so Jermaine was always in the room, and so I would call Jamar. I mean, Carl. I would call Carl every once in a while. We would trade war stories about what we're going through. And so one day, Carl kind of mentioned that he was going through this red dog process, and I was like, red dog, what is that? Tell me about it. You doing something I ain't doing? I want to know.
Right.
Um, and so he told us about it. They took it back to the group, and we asked Jermaine and I asked could we join, and they approved us. And so we came home that Christmas, and we were made into Red Dogs. We became Red Dogs. And then in true form, we came back and we made everybody Red Dogs that was already in the band. But the good thing about the Red Dog organization is one, it's not based in hazing. It's a family. And two, Red Dogs existed at Jackson State before the organization came in name. It existed in
Wow.
practice. And so remember earlier when I said Ronnie really took care of us, Chris really took care of us. It's more than just taking care of you as a freshman band member. They took care of us as freshman students. They made sure we knew other upperclassmen who had the same major as us. That we talked to them and knew what teachers to take and what not teachers to take. Being in the band and knowing that we were going to be
Wow.
up late. They told us what books to buy, what books don't buy. They told us, where to go to eat. They made sure we had rides home for off weeks. When you're homesick and you're a freshman, it's good to go home every couple weeks or every couple months. And so they truly took care of us. So when I say Red Dog existed at Jackson State, that's what I mean. Like the thought process, the methodologies, and the experiences that we had were all because of Ronnie and Chris and Ayana and everybody else who really took care of us. Um, like even a percussionist, like I don't know if you remember DB, but he's a Crab 95. He's from Augusta. And Donald and
Oh,
and all
Donald,
them
that's
guys.
right. Donald and
Yeah,
Keon, right?
and
Keon
Keon,
too.
yeah, they're all from
Yeah.
Augusta. We came back and we made all them Red Dogs. And so the organization has taken off to places I can't even imagine. Like we're at almost every black college in the South with a band. So it's gone farther than what I've ever could have imagined. But I am proud to be a part of the organization and proud to be a member of the family. I'm glad that Jackson State is still going strong, man. Yeah, Zach's one of my good kids. I went back to see him a couple times when he was a freshman. So fun times.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember I was interviewing them, and and it was funny because like he said he's from Oklahoma, but then he moved to Atlanta, and 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 then he later on he said something I can't remember off the top of my head, but he said something about the Red Dogs, and he was like, yeah, cause Kevin Lewis and Jermaine Darcy they started Red. I was like, whoa, like what? Like what'd you say? I said, who'd you say? And he said Kevin Lewis and Jermaine. I said, man, they're my Crab brothers, man. He was like, oh snap, and so I was like, yeah, man. So I was like, I know I gotta interview Kevin next and ask him about that because I remember it just as you described it. Like I was like, man, I'm Atlanta dudes, man. They had all the information to themselves. You know what I'm saying? What they doing? And then I remember y'all had the shirts. I remember y'all had the Red Dog shirts, and
We used to always wear Atlanta fitted hats too.
yeah, Atlanta. So we was just like, man, them Atlanta dudes, they just different, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got their own gang. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just never forget that, man. And then like to hear now, like younger people talking about Red Dogs, I was just like, wow, that's still going on. Like, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
man.
But
20,
uh
25 years.
yeah, so that's cool that you explained it. Because that home support system is super important when you in school. You know, I benefited because my family was from Jackson, so I could call my aunts or my cousins or somebody like that. Like if I just had to get away or get off campus or something like that, I didn't have to go. I couldn't go all the way home to St. Louis so on the weekends. So I could get away and have family. Give me $20 or take me out to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
That
listen.
was the
So
truth.
even outside of Red Dogs, I had another benefit. Like I told you, I started talking to Kendra, first week of band camp. So
Right.
um, I knew, it's gonna sound funny, but I knew she was the one. I used to take my clothes over to her house, and we used to wash clothes over there.
Whoa.
Well, we used to uh, we used to sneak off and try to go to the movies. So we took our clothes inside, and we went to the movies. We went to get something to eat or something, just normal freshman stuff. I came back, to drop Kendra off and to wash my clothes, and her mother had not only washed, dried, but she folded my clothes. I'm talking about
Oh
all my
wow.
underwear, everything. Like she folded all my clothes, and I was like, hey, she cooked us some dinner. Like I was like, all right, this girl is a keeper. Like
Right, right.
my mom is legit. Yeah, Miss Hardy took care of us, man. Like she really, really did, and not just me, but the whole crew. Anybody that was hanging out with us, Miss Hardy took care of us. And so that family atmosphere, I got it from two places. So I'm eternally grateful.
Right, right. That's pretty cool, man. That's amazing. So definitely, you made a good choice going to Jackson State. Now, when you were there, and that's cool. It's interesting. You had a good GPA. Did you know what you wanted to major in and what you wanted to do after you left Jackson State?
So I did not know what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I told you I was almost at Georgia Tech. I knew I wanted to major in computer science. I took a computer science. I took a programming class in high school. I took two programming classes in high school. That's why I say Towers High School was a bastion of hope in that in a, I won't say desolate, but it was a pretty rundown area. But we had some good opportunities at Tower, so I took 2 programming classes. And then another side story is the reason I pledged the Alpha was because the Alphas were very involved in my high school. They came back. They ran the National Society for Black Engineers in our high school. They ran a math club. They were they oversaw a student council, all of things which I participated in, and it was all done by the Georgia Tech Alphas. So I knew I wanted to major in computer science, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so, like I said, I was stupid when I got there. I was, trying to be a freshman in the band and do honors classes, and it wasn't working. And so, speaking of careers, the ROTC recruiter came in one day, and she got to talk to the band. And she only talked to the freshmen, I think. I don't know if you remember this, but all she did was ask some questions. She was like, "Hey, who wants a guaranteed job when you get out of college?" I raised my hand,
remember
with
that.
everybody else. Who wants a guaranteed pay raise every 2 years for the rest of your career? And I was like, "Ooh, I want that." She said, "Who wants to get $200 a month the whole time you're in college?" And I was like, "Shoot, yeah."
Right,
And she
right.
said, "Who wants a 4-year scholarship?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Everybody got their hands still up. Come over and talk to me." And I went over and talked to her. And she offered me a 4-year scholarship on the spot. And so that day I went over to the honors college lady. I don't even remember her name. And I told her, "I'm done. Withdraw me from all these honors classes. I'm done.
Right.
I am done." But that did ramp up the requirements for hours. So band had classes that we had to take for band because I was on band scholarship. And so, doing that and then taking RTC classes, every semester I had either, 21 or 22 hours, trying to graduate on time. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember that. I remember Sugar Bear told me that, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Man." And so that's when things started formulating, and like you started meeting other people. I tell you another thing that affected me too is like when we came back for our second year, you saw people like going into the honors dorm. Somebody said that Jackson State ain't got the honors dorm anymore.
Nah,
They,
they tore them down, man.
oh
You
man,
haven't been back, man?
I
The
I
campus is completely different.
yeah, I was there in 2015. That's the last time I was there, and I don't think it was there then either.
Nah,
Um,
it was going in 15.
okay, but yeah, man, that was a trip. Just seeing people in the honors dorm, all black people. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody,
Yeah.
just like And I was just like, wow, man, like I really need to get on my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so concerned with the band. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that was real interesting to see that. I remember when that woman came to talk to us, but man, I was so scared of fighting and like shooting guns. Like I
Dude,
couldn't
I
even.
was so
Oh
naive.
man.
I had no idea what I was getting into. I was so naive. I had no clue, man. Like I was, I just, I saw the, I saw the exit from the honors college, which I was absolutely looking for, but they had me by scholarship, man. So I had
Hmm.
to take those classes. Um, but then once she offered me that, I was like, all right, I'll go see what they're about. And then once I went, to the couple classes, I was like, all right, I enjoyed this. Um,
Wow.
this might be a future for me.
So you had decided that while we were in school.
The end of our freshman year,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. See, again, that's something else I didn't know. Like I didn't know. Like when I saw that you were in the service, I had no idea. Like I didn't know. I was like, I thought Kev was gonna be running like a tech company in San Francisco or something. Like I was like, he in the service.
I
Uh,
joined freshman year. I was in RTC all 4 years.
wow.
Um, yeah,
Okay, okay. Um, so that kind of so that I'm looking at the clock too. So that brings us to the second commercial break. And then I'll get into a little bit more about what you've been doing in the service, and then
yeah,
how you started, because you started a business as well. I got a
absolutely.
couple things. I got some masks and I got a couple bow ties. I think I might get some more bow ties. But
We got you.
yeah,
We got
okay,
you.
bet. So I want to get into that, and I just want to tell you a joke right quick before we go to the commercial break. Word is that you was like Steven Seagal out here on the streets, out here serving in the military. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
stop. Man, stop.
You know what I'm saying? And I know I gotta have some discretion because you know what I'm saying information might be redacted here and there. You know what I'm saying? But man, I just heard because you know I still keep up with Black. You know Jerome.
Oh my goodness.
I still keep up with him. And I know we talked about you a little while, and he was like Kevin's secret mission, like you know, Action Jackson, Kevin Lewis. So, so yeah, man. I want to get into all that. So let me take the commercial break. You can mute your microphones. We'll be right back, having a good time, chopping it up with Kevin Lewis, hearing from our beloved sponsors.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokey-O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey-O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokey-O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey-O's know what's good for you. Smokey-O's. Come check us out.
All right, this next sponsor is a live read providing online and one on one instruction for high school and college students in algebra, geometry, trigonometry, calculus, physics, and chemistry. Visit Math-Sci tutor.com. That's Math-Sci, math, SCI dash tutor, TUTOR.com to schedule a session or contact Michael Okoro at Michael at mathscitutor.com. That's the same thing, Michael at mathsci-tutor.com. Outstanding, proud of the things that he's doing and trying to get more young African American males involved in math because it's very important. But you go ahead and make sure that you contact Michael at mathscitutor.com or visit the website mathscitutor.com to schedule one-on-one or online instruction for high school and college students, again, in algebra, geometry, trigonometry, calculus, physics, and chemistry. Thanks again, Michael. This next one is again another live read. The one and only Sofia's Barbecue and Fish. You can contact them at 951 445 6696. That's 951 445 6696. Or you can order something from them on grubhub.com, seamless.com, and postmates.com. Representing the great St. Louis, Missouri, Marshall Dixon and his beloved family, providing the Southern California area with the St. Louis style barbecue, St. Louis style fish, and all of the wonderful recipes that we get from the good Midwest. And they are located at March Air Force Base out in Riverside, California. So you guys get some good down home eating with Sofia's Barbecue and Fish. Again, contact them 951 445 6696 or order Sofia's Barbecue from grubhub.com, seamless.com, or postmates.com. And the last live read we have is the one and only Bull City Music School by someone I'm sure that Kevin knows, Janetta Hopkins. She was Janetta Powell when we knew her, but she's Janetta Hopkins now. Bull City Music School is the modern approach to music. Enroll today and experience one of their virtual classes, and I can personally say they're great. My daughter Kennedy is a student at Bull City Music School learning the piano, and her teacher, Janetta Powell Hopkins, is doing an outstanding job. They just had a winter recital, and I'm very proud to say that went very well, and my daughter did a good job. So as a proud parent, I'm very thankful for Bull City Music School and definitely reaching out to everyone watching and listening to get your child or even yourself involved in music with Bull City Music School. You can contact them at 919 423 5701. That's 919-423-5701. Or you can go to the website, bullcitymusicschool.com. That's all one word, bullcitymusicschool.com. Bull City Music School, the modern approach to music.
Do you like marching bands? Do you love band videos? Go subscribe to Lamik's Videos YouTube channel. Lamik's Videos YouTube channel has the largest archive of unbiased marching band videos on the internet. iPad giveaways, AirPod giveaways, and more. Go subscribe to Lamik's Videos YouTube channel right now.
And this your boy Brandon
and Javante,
and we the Rogers Bros. And you rocking with my man Joe Big
for the Marching Podcast. Yeah.
Hello, this is Jamie Barnett, California educator, graduate of Cal State University at Long Beach, Chi Beta chapter, Spring 98, Q-Psi Phi, and you are listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
All right, we're back, and you can go ahead and unmute your microphones. Again, shout out to our beloved sponsors that help us do this thing. Lamik, if you out there, if you still listening, is Lamik? Are you from Atlanta too, man? Are y'all? I think Lamik's videos. I think he from Atlanta too, man. But yeah, if you still in the chat, yeah, if you still in the chat, cause he said hootie hoo, on the chat.
Who? What's his name? What's his name?
I don't know Lamik's last. He said, yeah. See, man, y'all just too deep, man. Yeah, he said he from. I don't know Lamik's last name.
Where'd he go to school?
You heard him, Lamik. Go ahead and put it in the chat, and then I got the chat thing up on the screen. But he said Reading.
Redan, man. Don't be disrespectful.
My bad, Redan. And then I guess he said he marched at FAM. He marched at FAMU. But yeah, he's got Lamik's videos. They on YouTube, and I got a dope commercial that I play for him. Just played it, and he's been doing his thing. And then he's also on Instagram. But yeah, a whole lot of videos. I mean, nonstop. I don't even know how the people that do the videos. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he has that many. But yeah, he got all type of videos, basketball, football. He's doing a lot. And he showed up when, again, I was talking to Zach. Zach said that was his boy. And another thing that I'm going to be announcing to the listeners, if you want to broadcast or run your commercial for your business or whatever you have, we doing it free here on the Marching Podcast Radio Network. So just send me the information, and I'll start tagging it with all the episodes, and I'll start playing the commercial, and I'll start help promoting the business. And then so he hit me up. He said, "Yeah, I heard that you doing the free promotion, and in an hour." Or I know within the next 24 hours, he sent me that video, and he's been in the chat room ever since. So shout out to him.
Nice.
But again, somebody else from Atlanta. So somebody else just pop up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody just pop up, and they from Atlanta
Not just
too.
from Atlanta. He from the east side like me. Redan is right around the corner from Towers.
Okay. So. All right. That's what's up. Terrell
Mr.
said.
Moore,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
His band was probably Mr. Moore. He's my frat brother. Another influence on me becoming an alpha.
Wow.
So.
Okay. Terrell said, "Much love to the AT aliens." You know
That's
what I'm saying?
right. That's right.
And Terrell, you listening, man? I know I'm reaching out to you too to do the interview. I think
that's my LB.
Yeah, man. I think Terrell they've been doing something like kicking it with the keys, or they've been doing some stuff too now. So man, I ain't gonna lie, man, that's probably the biggest blessing of all is kicking it with somebody, and then now we grown now and seeing them do grown up stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of grown up stuff, man, me and Kendra just bought an RV, man. So you gotta come back to homecoming. We kicking it next year, this fall.
Oh, round of applause.
So what?
That's gonna be dope. Round of applause with that. But shout out to Terrell too. Terrell, he tinted my windows. Back in the day, you know what I'm saying. I had the good gray Buick LeSabre, and he put the good mirror tint on there, and it was
Listen,
dope.
Terrell put mirror tint on my Nissan Sentra back in the day.
Nice. That's what's up, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. It was so tight that I got pulled over by the cops. They thought I was like Nino Brown or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was tight though. I ain't gonna lie, man. My parents had a fit because, of course, they didn't know. Because, you know, I'm away at school making all these decisions.
Shout out to In the Shade Tent. In the Shade Tent.
There you go.
Get at them if you're in the Memphis area.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So yeah, man, I'll be reaching out to a lot of people, man. If this was my full-time job and I can get paid for real and support my family, you know, I would be interviewing somebody all the time. But you know, I try to do.
It'll get there, brother. It'll get
there. Right. That's got to think positive. All right, so now we at Jackson State. You know, got Red Dogs rolling along. You were then there at ROTC. What year, or you know what was your major then at Jackson State?
Computer science. It was computer science.
Okay. And then when did you finish Jackson State?
2001.
Oh, nice. Round of applause. You finished with me then. Again, I didn't know that. Again, I was on the good 5-year plan because somebody told me when I went to Smith and I came to Jackson State, I was like, yeah, I'm a sophomore. And they were like, well, sir, you're classified here as a freshman. And I was like, no, I went to Johnson C. Smith last year. And they were like, well, according to your transcripts, sir, D's don't transfer. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh. I'm like, what you mean they don't transfer? I didn't fail. And they're like, yeah, nah, we can't have that up in here. So I started again. Well, I'm your crab brother. I was a freshman too, technically on the paperwork side. But I eventually, again, meeting people like you, meeting people like Avery, and all the people in the honor dorm, all of that changed me. So I got on the ball. So I finished 2001 with you. So then, what did you do after May of 2001? Then.
So I was in ROTC all 4 years. So after you finish ROTC, you are commissioned as an officer in the United States Army. So I, not to toot my horn, but I was a top cadet, so I got all my first choices. I got active duty Army. I picked to be an engineer officer, and I got to go to Fort Hood, Texas for my first duty station. So it was a blessing. It was a huge blessing. To know that I didn't have to worry about going to interview and doing any internships. I had my job lined up. I wasn't interested in sitting behind a desk. And so I got to do something fun right out of school. And like I said, I was naive. I had no idea what I was getting into. Also, when I joined, the world was a different place. The fall of '97 when I joined ROTC. 9/11 happened while we were in school, our senior year.
Yeah.
So it changed right after our senior year. But it changed the trajectory of everybody in the Army after that. And so, you know, it's been a fun ride these past 20 years. It's been 20 years since we graduated, Joe.
Yeah,
you
man.
old.
I know. I'm about to say, I know we old. I thought about that like yesterday. I said 2000. That's a 2021. I was like, damn, like, man, 2001. I actually went to graduate school right after we finished in a town called Indiana, Pennsylvania. And it's about 40 miles from Pittsburgh. So it's western Pennsylvania. It's still like Pittsburghish area, kinda. And I remember when that happened. That happened the fall after we graduated. So I was in school, and one of those planes actually flew over us. And landed in Somerville, I believe. Somerville was the place. But I went for geography, master's in geography. So we were, I've been drawing maps for 20 some years now, and that was so much of our time spent was like trying to draw where the planes went, how they flew, and then especially the one that crashed in Pennsylvania, how close that was to us, or how they flew over us, and all of that. But yeah, man, it was definitely a different time. It changed everything. Um, so
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, because I'm naive about the service. When you said you finished school and you then were commissioned, like what exactly does that mean? Did you have to go to boot camp and all of that? Like,
No.
okay,
So that's the difference between going to ROTC and just enlisting. So in the Army, you got a couple ways you can enter in, but generally the two ways you can enter in are you enlist, meaning you go see a recruiter and you become enlisted, and you're starting at square one.
okay,
Or you can go to college, and you can go to a service academy like West Point or the Citadel or Texas A&M Corps of Cadets,
oh wow,
or you can go to a regular college and then attend ROTC. And after your 4 years of ROTC, you're commissioned as an officer, um, which means you're in charge of some stuff, day one. And but you go to your specialty school immediately after. So I went to Fort Leonard Wood, where I learned how to be an engineer officer. Um, and immediately after that, I went to airborne and ranger schools, and then I went to my first duty station. And pretty quickly after that, I was by myself in Iraq.
wow,
And so, less than 2 years after graduating college, I was in Iraq. There were some kids there who I was in control of, who were fresh out of high school. Man, I couldn't imagine being fresh out of high school. And that summer you're in Iraq.
right.
You go to basic training for a couple months, and then you straight into Iraq. So it's been a ride. It's been a fun ride.
Wow. Okay, so man, like my mind's like racing, like what you was thinking, or like after 9/11, like how that all went down, and you already being in the service. So I appreciate you explaining it as far as like commission as an officer. I didn't know what that meant. I always thought it was very similar to like Forrest Gump. You go somewhere and like you said, that's enlisting when you go to the
Yeah.
recruiter. Okay, that's what I thought it was always like that. But then like because you go to college, I guess they train you. Then you become an officer. Now, when you say an officer, does that mean you become a certain rank? Like,
Yeah, I was a lieutenant. And so there's a huge pay difference between enlisting and coming in as an officer. But there's also a responsibility. When you enlist and you're a private, all you got to do four things: do what you're, be at your appointed place of time, on time, in the right uniform, with the right attitude.
wow.
That's it. You just got to do what you're told. But as an officer, I am responsible for when I first joined active duty. I had an engineer platoon. I had 23 men and myself, so 24 of us. I was responsible for their lives. Um, I'm responsible for everything that my organization does or fails to do, and I can be held responsible for that, both ethically and on paper by the Army. I'm responsible for their lives, so morally, I have a moral obligation to do everything I can to make sure I am trained enough to lead them. So yeah, like coming in as an officer, you are hit immediately with responsibility.
Wow. Okay. So, and when you say a lieutenant, because again, I mean, I've heard the ranks and all that stuff like that, but then I also hear about people who are like a sergeant or something like that. Now, can you get to sergeant? Do people get promoted to sergeant from like being like a private or enlisting, like what you were saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. And then you go to school, you go through the program, then you become like a lieutenant. And so
Yeah.
so a lieutenant is an officer on going up with your rank or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Lieutenant is the lowest officer.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, man. Okay. Um but it's
And I'm a
funny.
lieutenant colonel now, about to retire.
Okay. Okay. Oh, so is that what you meant LTC?
LTC, Lieutenant Colonel. Correct.
Oh, okay. Now, as far as the ranking stuff goes, do you just have to continue to be there as far as like moving up? Because I always see like generals be like they be kind of old. Like I don't really see no like young
Yeah.
generals.
Nah, you got to work your way up. It's kind of the same progression as like you're in school. You can't start off a senior. You got to start off a freshman.
Right.
And you're not the same person you are when you become a senior. I hope not, or you wasted 4 years. But there should have been some growth and development. And so that's the same thing that happens in your career. You make first lieutenant pretty quickly. You make captain after about 3 or 4 years. You make major around 10 years. I did. And then I made lieutenant colonel at around 17 years. And so there's another rank of colonel that you make at around 21 or 22 years. And then you're not even eligible to be a general officer until you got about 25, 26 years in.
Wow.
So if you graduate high school, graduate college when you're 21, add 25 years to that, you're 47. That's the youngest general. It's around 45 to 47 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And most are a little bit older than that.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I just didn't, know the rank. I mean, I've heard of like, and plus you got like video games where like, you put in so and it's got the
TV.
same right TV. But yeah, I didn't know exactly the work, that you got to put in for it. So that made sense. That made sense, man. Well, like they say, thank you for your service. Let's give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
Cause I be getting scared like when cars backfire. Like I don't know, like you know what I'm saying? I don't even be knowing it. But hey, somebody got to do it. So I appreciate you doing it. Okay. So now, and I'm glad I told you that joke about Black. Because I remember Black told me that joke. I thought that was so funny, man.
Man, I came back from Ranger School. Ranger School is supposed to be 60 days. It's 60 days. It's a terrible experience. It's like crabbing and pledging and all that all at the same time. And you got to volunteer for it. So after 4 years of college, being in the band, going through that process, pledging, twice, became a Mason, did all that stuff in college. I thought I was done with it. I get to the Army, and they're like, hey, you want to be a Ranger? You're about to go through this hell again. But it's supposed to be about 60 days. Ended up taking me almost 6 months because I got a hard head and I'm arrogant. But I told Black that I went to Ranger School, and he saw me afterwards. And you look like you've been pledging for some time after you come out of Ranger School. And so I was all beat up. I couldn't feel my big toes. And Black was so amazed that he knew somebody that went to Ranger School. And I was like, dude, man, it's not as big as you're making it seem, but apparently it's a big deal to Black, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, man. When he was, because we were talking about something, I can't remember, and this was, man. I mean, this was sometime last year, and I remember I said something. We were talking about something, and he was like, "Yeah, man, Kevin." Like, man, he was like, "God damn, like Kevin," like, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, he was scared. I was like, damn, like Kevin, like do it like that, man. He said, man, like I don't know, cause they can't be saying nothing, like you know what I'm saying. But man, it was funny, because I was like, man, well Kevin, like he doing like business stuff, like I don't see Kevin doing all that, but that rolls into the other stuff. That I wanted to ask you about was twisties and ties. So
twisted
ties. I some years back, I think when I started, it was about 7 years ago. I started adjunct teaching on the side because California is expensive, man. So I had to make some extra pay, just to kind of.
Yeah, my little brother's out there.
Man. I mean, it's fun. I love California, man, but it's just expensive. You know what I'm saying? And so I started teaching on the side, and I remember saying that I need to start like looking the part because being a software engineer, you can pretty much look like a bum and go to work. I hope ain't nobody from work watching. But yeah, but I was kind of like chilling as far as how I looked. And then going on campus and then in front of people, in front of students, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I got to start, I got to start cleaning up a little bit. And then I remember saying, like, man, man, maybe wearing bow ties is like some real professor type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I bought some new clothes, and then I saw that, you were selling the bow ties. So when did that idea come along? When did you start doing that?
Okay, so I'm gonna start a little bit earlier, because it's a bit of a story.
Okay.
But the Alphas on Jackson State Yard when I played Delta Phi. Shout out to Delta Phi. Um, we were a bit rough around the edges. Like I said, I grew up in a rough area, and I kind of brought that lifestyle with me. And so, the Jackson State Alphas, we didn't wear bow ties back then. I'm an active alpha, and everywhere I've been. Fast forward to 2011, 2012, I was asked to speak at an MLK program, and they said, we want all alphas to wear a bow tie. And I was like, oh, crap. So a buddy gave me a bow tie, but he didn't tell me that it was a self-tie bow tie. I thought I was just going to put it on. So I spent probably 3 or 4 hours at night on YouTube trying to figure out how to tie a bow tie. But once I did, I was hooked. Another thing you probably don't know about me, Joe, is I'm frugal. And that might be an understatement. But I enjoy dressing up, especially because I wear a uniform to work every day. So I was like, when I'm off, when I go to church or when I do any function, I'm going to dress up and I'm going to wear a bow tie. But they became expensive. They became expensive real quick because I like to wear them, so I wore them all the time. And, anytime I would go somewhere, I would see a tie like that, and I would buy it, and it was like $25, $30.
Right.
So one day, Kendra and I, we were just talking, and she was like, hey, my mother taught me to sew back in the day. Maybe I can make your bow ties. And I was like, what? So we did a lot of research, and we did a little bit of research. And then we started fooling around with it, and we started making me ties. And we made 4 or 5 ties, and looking back, they were terrible, but we were so proud of those ties that we made. And so what we did was to get more practice. Instead of going out and buying fabric, what I did was I converted all of my long ties to bow ties. We just opened it up. I don't want to tell our trade craft, but we opened it up, and we converted them. Cut them up and stitched them into bow ties. And I ended up doing that for my best friend Lowell. He marched Crab 98. Shout out to Lowell. But we converted all of his long ties to bow ties. So now all in his whole in his closet, he has nothing but Twist and Ties products. And so from there, word of mouth would just spread. And so we paused the company for a minute. This was like 2013. We did a lot. And that's when we sat down and said, we need to come up with a business model. We need to come up with a plan of how we're going to do this. And another reason why I really love our Jackson State family. So at the time, Fontria James, she's Piccolo class of 95. Her husband, well, really her husband, her ex-husband now, he had a bow tie company. And so I called her just on a whim and said, hey, Kim and I are thinking about doing this. Can you help us out? Tell us where to buy certain pieces of hardware, where to get the templates from, and all that stuff. And I didn't think she was going to give me much of anything, but I thought, I should at least ask her for some advice starting this business. And to my surprise, one of the first things she said was, and this is going to be one of my life lessons, is that there's enough out there for all of us to be successful. And so she laid it out for me, not necessarily how to be successful making bow ties, but how to really love and enjoy what we do. She gave us all the information we needed to start. And so January 1st, 2014, we launched. So you don't even know this, but you were one of our first group of customers.
Nice.
I'm sure it's kind of terrible because we got much better. But we launched January of 2014, and we have been going strong ever since. It's been a huge blessing. And so if you make it past your first 5 years, and we were blessed. Since 2014, I've deployed twice, and Kendra's been able to keep that thing going while I've been deployed. But it's just she and I. The basic business model is we wanted to make a quality product, a custom product at an inexpensive price. We initially wanted to target the young college graduate who was looking to spruce up his profile a little bit and wanted to make a bit of a statement in how he dressed. And so we were going to cater to that market. And so we wanted to make sure we made a high quality product because it has my name on it, has Timber's name on it.
Right.
But we wanted to make it affordable. So I think we've achieved that over the years. We've gotten a little bit better at our craft. But now we've taken the website down. We focus, or we rely almost 100% on word of mouth, and that's been great for us. And we only do custom products. We don't have an inventory of stuff laying around. You call us up, you send us an email, send us a text, tell us what you want, and we go from there. We'll help you design a custom product to suit your needs, and we're loving it, man. It's been a huge blessing.
That's cool, man. Get another round of applause. Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. You done brought up so many names, man. Funtria, man. I remember her too. She's got I think she got a podcast now.
She does. She's written a book, man. She's written 2 books. She's written 2 books. Yeah, she's doing very, very well, man. I'm proud of her.
Yeah. I definitely plan to reach out to her too. But man, that's amazing.
Small world, because Fawn knows. God dang it, what's her name? Your piano teacher, Janetta.
Yeah.
Delta Pi. They both play as Delta Pi.
Yeah. That's a trip. But yeah, man, you bringing it back, man. And again, like that we all went to school together, like that. That's the part that still trips me out. That we was just running around, and you would see people on the yard just in class, like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now, like, just out doing stuff like this. So yeah, I saw that she's got the fun show or something like that, and I said, man, I got to reach out to her, because anybody that's doing something, I want to interview them, especially if I went to school with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to highlight what they're doing, because one of the other reasons why I started the podcast is just out here in California, man. You ain't got that same HBCU reference with anything. You know,
right?
It's so many different cultures of people out here. I mean, other than the Latinos, I mean, they deep like ATL was in the band. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Mexicans out here, they deep. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not the same as far as young black kids out here talking about going to college. I mean, it's just a lot more of it is like about athletics. Basketball, some football, track is huge out here, but it's very much focused on, athletics, not so much like, well, I'm going to school and I plan to graduate. It's just not the same as a lot of.
We gotta change that narrative, man.
Right. So that's why I started the podcast, to try to like reach out and start doing that, so people can hear, my experiences, but like people like you and people, I came along with that are doing things, or like Janetta, she started a music school from scratch. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like
man.
That.
It's crazy, man. We were all running around as freshmen, man. I still remember all these people.
Man.
Like, I've known Janetta since '97, man.
I know.
Like, it's crazy.
It is, man. And I thought, and the biggest thing for me was the calf. Like, you remember you had the orange side and the blue side.
The blue side, yeah.
That was to my extent for all of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to hear, and see people doing their thing. And I definitely want to get some more bow ties. I know when I first got my first bow tie from you, I had lost a lot of weight and I was excited, but I done put the weight back on, and then I'm like, I don't want to. But then, like, this year, I promise this was the year I was like, I'm going to slim back down and, get my clothes back right. And then the virus hit. And then now I teach from home, which is like the bomb. Cause now, I was just talking about how I look and going on campus. I ain't doing that right now. So, but I know we got to eventually go back. So I know I want to make sure I go back, right. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
Yeah, I definitely reach out to more. And shout out to you again. I gotta give you a round of applause on the mask I have. I have all all the different types of logos here for the Marching Podcast. So, I appreciate from that to you as well. Now, the question I had you about the mask, is that the same with the bow ties? Like someone reaches out to you, and if whatever they want, then you go ahead. Okay, I'll hook you up and stuff. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, hey, but I gotta clarify, I am not a graphic designer. So I
Okay.
cannot draw anything. I can't design your logo. I can't do any of that. You shoot me a picture of your logo that you've already gotten designed,
Right.
or if you want some words and you know what font you want to use, yeah, I can put almost anything on a mask, image wise, but I can't design it.
Okay.
Nah, but it's the same concept with the ties. Whatever you want, just about. I think we can make it happen. We got the internet, man. We can find it.
Right.
And so we can make it happen.
That's what's
But
up,
yeah,
man. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. So I think we're coming towards the end of the interview, man, and I gotta give you a round of applause again. Shout out to Terrell, and he said he loving these stories, man. Me too, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't heard some, or just hearing some of the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, you hadn't thought about or heard somebody's name in so long, and like, just like what it all brings back, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, man.
So yeah, man, I really appreciate your time. Kendra texted me over Facebook, and she was like, "Didn't you reach out to us?" Living. Oh, and I want to tell this story, and then I want you to let us know all the places you live. But you were living 2015, 2016, something like that. You were in Okinawa. Is that where you were?
Okinawa, Japan.
Okinawa. And I remember you guys started the bow tie business. And at first, because I was still putting the interviews together, what I was trying to do, I was trying to get a lot of people to do the promos. And I hadn't done the promos in so long, man, just with, as far as work and, time and with the kids. Now my kids getting older. And I mean, as you know, man, as they get older, man, you definitely have to have more time with them.
Yeah.
So I remember I recorded a promo with you and Kendra back
Yeah,
then.
she has hit. She was like, "Hey, why are you doing another interview?" And I was like, "We didn't do one the first time."
Right. So yeah, y'all, and it was you and her. You both said
Yep.
something, and then and we're listening to the Marcher Podcast Radio Network, and then I had a drive fail on me, and I lost a whole lot of stuff. I lost a lot of those promos. So I told myself, man, I'm gonna get on it and get back and reach out to those people again, but I just hadn't been on the ball with it. So that was and I remember, I think when I was talking to you, you was like, man, we live right on the water. And I was like, damn, you in
Yeah,
Japan?
man.
So where are all the places that you have lived since you being in the service?
All right. So when I first started out, I was in Missouri for training. Then I went to Fort Hood, Fort Benning, Georgia. Fort Hood is in Texas. Fort Benning's in Georgia. Let me see, where do we go after that? Fort Polk, Louisiana. Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I got stationed in Mississippi for 2 years. Then we went to Fort Leavenworth for a year. Then we were in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. After Okinawa, we went to DC. We were there for 2 years. And then we've been here in Louisville for 3 years, and this is where I'm retiring this year. So this is it. We've been blessed, man. We've been all over the country, all over the world. I even got to go to Iraq twice and Afghanistan twice.
Right. So quick question. And I heard you say when you were deployed. What does that mean exactly when you say? So that means your family didn't go with you when you deployed. Is that right?
Correct. Correct. So both Iraq and Afghanistan are quite dangerous places. So
Right.
even if they could come, I wouldn't let them come. But nah, you can't take families over there. So yeah, I've deployed 4 times, twice to each for a year each time.
Okay, and then when you say deploy, is that the same thing as doing a tour? Because I hear people say
a
I did a
combat
tour. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
So you
same thing.
one of the soldiers, and they say, "Oh, okay, you need to go to this area," and so that's what y'all do, and you do that for a whole year.
something like that.
Wow. Okay. So let me ask you this then. Do you then say, hey man, like, this has been rough. This year has been rough. Do you then have to do another one, or do you say I don't want to come back, or or is it up to you, or like how does that work?
No, you say what you want. The Army takes that in consideration, um,
Okay.
and it might be mildly interesting, but at the end of the day, the needs of the Army are going to drive the Army. So bottom line is your first, I'll say 10 years in the Army, you generally spend 3 to 5 years in one location. I had some pretty good jobs, so I moved around a little bit more than normal. But you generally spend that amount of time at each duty location. So you've been between 3 to 5 places your first 10 years. Well, after you hit 10 years, you're going to change duty locations every 2 years
Okay.
for your whole career. So every 2 years, expect to move. But most of the time, especially early on, a unit will deploy to combat, not an individual. So if you are at a duty location and it's that unit's time to deploy to combat, then you will go with your unit. Um, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but just as a general overview, that's how it works. So if your unit is scheduled to deploy to combat, you deploy with your unit and you come back with your unit. Um, if in the unfortunate circumstance your time is up at that unit once you get back and you go to a different location, um, and they have to deploy, you and your organization have some things to work out, but you could deploy back to back, but that's highly unlikely.
Wow.
So no, you don't typically. A year to 15 months is the most that you'll go at once. You come back home for a while, um, rest up, and get yourself back together and prepare to deploy again.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, man. I didn't know how. I mean, I didn't know how that worked. I always hear people saying that they're deployed, and then they're leaving their families, or they'll say
Yeah.
they're a military wife, and I didn't know what that meant either. And then I learned later that they're at home with their family, and then you off out in Iraq
Yeah, man.
or
Kendra's the real MVP of this thing, man. Like, yeah, it sucks deploying, man, but imagine having two young babies because Kendrick and Kendall are 2 years apart, almost exactly. Um, I was not home for Kendrick, my oldest son's birth. I was in Iraq. Um, and my youngest son, he was born, and I left pretty quickly after he was born. And she got to raise those boys for a year without me. We
wow.
were in Japan for 2 years, um, and some of the things that I did, like sometimes I couldn't even tell her where I was going. Just when I got back, uh, I say, hey, I was in this location or that location, but she's got to raise those boys a lot of times by herself when I'm gone, either an exercise or training or some official duty.
Right.
Um, yeah, military spouses, it's rough on them, man. It's rough, but
Wow.
she's my ride or die.
Right, right. So you give a round of applause for the good craft sister. That's what's up, man. Representing the good Callaway. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. Well, man, I have to say, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you talking to me today because I had been wanting to talk to you for a while. But yeah, man, it's a trip, especially how the interviews go because I usually try to talk about the games during the football season, and I'm waxed out during that to do that and interviews, and then I try to
Yeah.
do like the off season to do the interviews. But then, like doing so many back to back, you get tired. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, oh man, I may interview so and so, and it might not be like for like another 5 years or something till I get a hold of somebody. But yeah, man, it's been great, man. I'm really proud of you, man. Sugar Bear was right, man. He knew you was destined for great things. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Hey
Sugar
man,
Bear
Sugar Bear's
again.
killing it, man. He a chef, man. Shout out to Sugar Bear.
Yeah, yeah. So I gotta holler at Sugar Bear too. I see him on Facebook every once in a while, but again, like you see people here and there.
Yeah.
And how they're doing, and that's one thing I like about Facebook. I had to get away from commenting on people's stuff because that was
Yeah,
too stressful.
I don't comment or do any of that anymore.
Yeah. I had to let that go, but I still like being on there just so I keep track of like you or like see what Avery's doing or like when they post pics of their
Yeah, man.
families, like you know what I'm saying, and even Avery kids.
Man,
His
look just like
wife,
him.
I know, right? His wife, they knew each other growing up. And I'll never forget, he had her picture. I was like, I was asking him, like, why are you bringing this girl's picture from, like, you know what I'm saying? We in college now. You don't bring sand to the beach. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that all about? And then next thing you know, they got married. And, you know, I was like, my bad, McFadden. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, Squeaky told me the same thing. Squeaky, what's Squeaky's real name? I don't even remember Squeaky's real name. Latorian Hemphill. Latorian Hemphill. He was my section leader our freshman year. And he saw me and Kendra holding hands in front of the calf as a crab. And so you know how that went. But he pulled me to the side afterwards, and he was like, "Hey man, I know we was hard on you because you were a freshman. You supposed to be around girls, focus on your freshman." He's like, "Hey man, but you got a lot of college left in you, man. You just getting here. You can't be settling down with one girl already, man." And I was like, "Nah, but I think I really like her." He's like, "You just met her." I'll never forget that conversation in front of the band hall after we finished getting having a good talking to.
Right.
He pulled me to the side. He was really concerned I was selling down way too early.
Right.
But we're still going strong. It's been a good blessing, man. We've had a great life, man. I cannot complain at all.
That's cool, man. And it's even better yet, like, that you guys met, and been together. But it's also cool for us too, like, cause we saw y'all meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's been cool. And shout out to the tuba section, man. Y'all had some clouds, boy. I just interviewed Caldwell not too long ago,
Man.
and I remember I used to just want to be Caldwell because he was tall and he was skinny. So I was like, man, I want to be like that. You know what I'm saying? And Melvin,
Yeah, man, I was scared of Caldwell, man.
yeah,
Oh, dang.
Caldwell, and it's a trip
That
because
dude is.
like, cause he's a principal. You know what I'm saying? And when you hear him talk, he's like really a leader amongst young people. So it's a trip to hear about him. Shout out to the good Melvin. Oh my
Oh my
God,
goodness.
Melvin was a clown, and I'll never forget. He made Sugar Bear wear these glasses. Oh my God, we were in the band hall, and Sugar Bear had them glasses on, man. But yeah, man, it was some good people. It was some good people in the band overall. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man. It was like just a melting pot of people from different walks of life with a common interest in music coming together to make a good program and a good sound. But truly, the magic happened after we all graduated and went our different ways to see the many things we've all been able to accomplish,
Right.
having come through that program and representing that program. So, like you say, you proud of me, brother. I'm proud of you, man. Like you out there in California killing it.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this has been a listen. I would have never thought I'd be where I am right now. So I just thank God for all the positions He put me in, and just the great experiences we've had, and I'm excited about what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so yeah, good luck to you on your retirement, man. You have to definitely let me know what you plan to do with that. Um but yeah, man, I had no idea. Like I started out as a music major, and then I just couldn't swing that. So I got into history, but I was really into maps, man. I had always been into maps. So I'm really thankful that I figured that out early. And then
yeah,
I've just been drawing maps all these years, man. So and then the base of our company is the number one company in the world. It's here in Redlands, California, where I'm at. We're about an hour east of LA. So that's how I got out here. I took the job here at the main office, and I started in tech support. I was there for 3 years, and so now I'm testing the software before it goes out to the customer. So yeah, I've been in that position 12 years now. But yeah, man, it's
killing it.
just yeah, man, just got used to California, man. That's the biggest thing. The time zone will get you, and wearing the same clothes year round. because the weather don't change. Like that'll make you stay here for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, right, right,
That was
right,
Okinawa. Okinawa was a tropical island.
right,
We had a neighborhood barbecue for Christmas. Like,
right,
it was,
right. Exactly. Well, shout out to you, man. We give the hold on, man. I got the wrong track playing out here, man. Yeah, I'm trying to get over here. I think that's the right thing. I thought I had some oh, here it go. I think I'm about to say I had to have some type of ATL music for the extra when we went out. But yeah, man.
that's a nitty beat.
Right, right. So do you have anything else? Any departing words? Any advice? Before we close the show out.
I just try to live by the mantra, lift as we climb. I didn't get here by myself, both in professional and personal life. So I want to make sure that we're doing the same thing for the next generation coming behind us. And another thing that's near and dear to my heart is the March for Babies. That's what shirt I'm wearing. So if any of y'all feel it in your heart to donate, go ahead and send a couple dollars their way. It's a good organization. I work with year round. So that's what I got, brother. I appreciate you having me on.
How can we donate to March for Babies?
MarchForBabies.com. Either MarchForBabies.com or March of Dimes.
Okay, March of Dimes or March for Babies.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Could you show us your shirt again? Okay. All right, March for Babies. Make sure to donate and support. Cause I was playing the slideshow there, you and your family there.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the good Harvey. Let me give Harvey a round of applause.
Yo, I worked with Harvey in Louisville for 2 years, man. Crazy. Small world.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have a Trump Funk group chat. And it's pretty much anybody that was in the funk. I don't know if people who currently march is still in there, but I see Harvey in there, and I always be like, "What's up, Harvey?" Because the '98 class. I mean, man, we did them so wrong. But you know what I'm saying? They closest to my heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always love Harvey and his class.
They deserve it.
Oh yeah, man, Harvey and Curtis and all them. And I remember, was Big Hen? Was he a tuba in '98?
Big Hen Dog Team '98.
Yeah. He went with me and Sugar Bear and Chris Jones to Charlotte one time. And I can't remember how. I don't know how that happened, but I think we went with Big Hen because we were driving Big Hen's car. And I remember his tire blew out. We were in like Tallapoosa, Alabama or something like that. And we had to spend the night somewhere because we had to get a tire and nobody had the tire because he had rims. You remember Big Hen had rims? He had a car.
Yeah.
So we had to spend the night in a hotel. I remember that. And
shout out to Big Hen. I just talked to him last week, man.
Word. I got so Big Hen, was he like rapping or something like that?
He is. He got his own t-shirt company and everything, man. Like Big Hen is.
Yeah. I gotta holler at Big Hen. I'm glad you said that, but real quick about Big Hen, we went to Johnson C. Smith because that's where me and Chris Jones used to march. And Goldberg, right. So we went out there to see our people, and Big Hen was gangster. Like he was like, y'all band can't fade ours, like blah blah blah. And no matter who you are, like you still like you don't just bow down. People were like, oh no, we Smith, man, we don't do. I remember Big Hen, I think we were at a basketball game, and Big Hen had his neck and his mouthpiece. And he was like, oh, man, everywhere I go. He started pulling off his clothes and grabbed somebody's tuba and just started playing. And then nobody stepped to him. He had played for like 20 minutes. He's like, ain't nobody going to say nothing, Joe. He's like, hey, none of your boys gonna say nothing, Joe. And I was like, I guess not. But he was out there at Johnson C. Smith parking lot just cranking for like a good 20 minutes, man. It was a trip. And did nobody do nothing, like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll never forget that, man.
Wild times.
Yeah, man. It was good old days, man. But man, good talking to you, Kevin, man. I definitely keep up with you, and I got an order for some bow ties coming.
Yeah, man,
your
we got
way.
you.
And tell Kendra I said what's up, and much love to you and your family, man. I'm really proud of you, man. I mean, words can't really be enough. How well you doing, man. I'm really proud of you, man.
I appreciate it, brother. Same back at you.
All right, man. Thanks again. We come to the end of our show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact us so we can give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial. We'll post your website on our blog. We'll help send out your information through social media. So contact us so we can help build your business. That's all the time we have for the show. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.